Black.
First rally of 2025, it goes Hurkacz's way. And it was another feature of his match we're going to dig into, obviously, the racket change from Hubie, but forehands down the line. He's usually a 50-50 split, is Hurkacz. In his match the other day against Casper, he was almost at 70% of his forehands going down the line. High-risk strategy, didn't pay off. But the serve working nicely in that opening game.
He had a good day of serving against Casper Ruud, but you're right, the forehand direction was a little bit eye-opening because he tends to be a bit more conservative with it than he showed us in that matchup, and time will tell whether that is a new strategy emerging from his new coaching team. And I know Craig Boyden, who I spent time with on tour, he was coaching me, so I'm very deep in the weeds with Craig about Hubie for years, and Craig had knew that Hurkacz's forehand was an area of growth, and he tried to get him to be more aggressive with it, but it was like pulling teeth. It was difficult. Hubie resisted it. More comfortable with his backhand, as we see the win predictor just right in the middle of a coin flip. So Ivan Lendl, when he was with Andy Murray, seemed to have the key to unlocking power in Murray's forehand, and maybe that will also be the case here with Hurkacz. He could certainly use a little more of a threat on that side. We'll see whether he can control it, because there is that aspect too.
Different forehands is not something that we've seen from Machac too much in the last sort of 3 months of the season. Smooth shot. Some violent velocity when he needs to. We saw it against Alcaraz in Shanghai. Some subtle brilliance there from the 24-year-old. He held that shot for so long. Hurkacz had made a very definite move into his backhand side and got caught.
Yeah, that's interesting that you say that, because when I sit here watching Hurkacz, and we did his match the other day, at the moment his confidence level is that he's reacting to the ball. He's not anticipating and moving in those areas as well as you might when you're feeling really good about your game. So some of his movement for me is he's late, and so he's getting caught particularly and quite often out wide to the forehand, because he's sort of leaning into the backhand corner far too often. He's not reading where his opponent might be trying to expose him. And even in a situation like that forehand there, waiting for that ball to get to him, not up on it a little earlier. That ball's dropping severely by the time he struck it. So feet need to work a little quicker for Hurkacz at this early stages.
March in the end getting a solid hold, but he got a little bit of a helping hand there from Hurkacz, whose forehand has always been kind of the barometer to his success. I know back in 2022 he managed alongside Craig to get about 200 RPMs extra on it to get a little control. I'm going to be interested to see with this racket, Jim, just digging into the numbers here compared to when he was playing with the Yonex last year, and we can say that now. It's almost identical, the numbers against Casper Ruud. Speed, spins, doesn't seem as though it's giving him anything that the Yonex was.
So it sounds like the change was really more of a financial change than potentially a pickup of power or spin change.
I would be surprised. Yonex historically have been the people that pay more than other racket companies.
Yeah, but clothing and shoes and rackets, it's, don't want to go too far down the business of tennis path, but it's complicated. But things are simple when you can serve like Hurkacz, though. Hold and serve, not typically a problem for him. Certainly not in this game, it appears.
Beautiful two-hander down the line there from Hurkacz, holding to love, and it is 2-1 in the opening set.
Team Boden leads 2-1.
Przelotowuje i jak jestem zgięty, to mi ucieka trochę. Bardziej sobie only one thing, 15 on. He's gonna make him fucking cross. You open him already. The next one, take him run. It's allowed. You play inside in again and then he start to be a little bit more recovered. And more aggressive. There's a lot of job. The good, Tomas? Yeah, the return serve was good. But also, they put only one first serve, the 47. Also was playing with only second serve. It's important. Try to get your chance. Very quickly. If you decide to go back in the second serve, okay, then the next ball, long. So you have more time to recover. Very good. Back. You are changing directions, amazing, huh? Believe in that.
Quite a really interesting change over there. Nicholas Massou much more engaged, it feels, today, Jim, than he was actually in Hubie's first match.
Well, one match under the belt too, right? I'm sure you start to feel more and more comfortable as a team the more time you spend together. So the instructions from Massou, apart from a lot of positivity, and you're doing great out there, was if you do go back on the serve, get a little more height on the return. But he's just trying to kind of work his way into it, which makes a lot of sense.
See where he stands for the second serve. As Massou was saying, if you want to go back, you've got to be more active with your feet. Will Hubie decide to jump in? Can't do anything about that.
Nothing to do about those 2 points. You're just a passenger if you're Hurkacz. Machac knocking down first serves and then following up with that forehand on the next shot. Unplayable. There's a nice combo. Little line return and then an inside-in forehand doing major damage there for Hurkacz. He's done it again. We saw him hit a lefty forehand in his match against Casper Ruud, and it looked fluid, and he just did it again and won the rally. Amazing. Look at this pickup. Why he opted to do that, I don't know, but if I could hit that shot, I probably would too. It looks good and effective and eventually successful.
Plenty of variety in those servings from Machac. 2 apiece as Todd Woodbridge has made his way, I think, into the Team Poland bench.
I have, and I've got Nicholas Machac with me. Nico, one of the key things we've been talking about is there's a lot of changes for Hubie this year. Coaching, new racket, new equipment. Tell us about the racket change.
Well, when I talked to him at the end of last year, he told me about that he was trying some different stuff of rackets. So when we started the off-season, he was trying these rackets. So I think that it's playing very, very good for him. I mean, he's used to it. Of course, he needs matches. Also, I think this racket is very important for his game. The forehand, for example, gets a lot of spin. Yeah, many things. Also, more speed. So we are happy with that.
Exactly like that there. So what are the key things that you two are working on for this new season?
Yeah, the first thing is that he's healthy, because he didn't play so much since August. I mean, he got a surgery after Wimbledon, so he needs matches, and now to get rhythm again. Of course, work on the forehand, his movements. Also, sorry. So yeah, and to play very smart in the important moments, to believe in his shots, and well, he improved a lot on clay also. So he's a very complete player, and for his size, he's moving really well.
Well, I know you like to be invested, so I'm going to let you get back into it. Thanks very much for chatting.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Well, showboating there from Hubie. And some nice insights there from Nicholas Machac.
Certainly some good spin on that forehand. That thing dove down short in the court. Machac was tracking for a deeper ball, wasn't expecting it. So that's something that we'll be tracking this season as well, comparing his speeds and spins at similar tournaments, and see if he is getting what seems like the team is asking for. A little more pop, a little more spin on the forehand. Certainly no problem with the serve there. Everything going to serve so far here in 2025.
Sense that wouldn't just be a feel thing that Nicholas was talking about. They would have had, whether it's Bolt 6, Hawkeye, somebody looking at those numbers in the off season to produce the kind of results that he's saying that they are. We didn't see it from the previous match compared to what we have on our system, but they surely have seen it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I tell you what, guys, sitting next to Nico there while that was all playing out, he's almost hitting every shot. He's so invested in every single point, every single moment. It's a different intensity when you're doing that interview to what most of them are when you're at courtside.
So far, so good for both players. In the opening 5 games, as we take a little look at the Group B standings, this group is super easy. It's just a win today for either of these two teams, and they go through to the quarterfinals here in Sydney. Of course, they are ahead in Perth. It's already quarterfinal day over in Western Australia, but for today, it is just trying to pick up a couple of wins for either Czechia or Poland, and it is going to be mighty tight, you would think. Machova against Swiatek is up next in what will be a blockbuster start to 2025. this perhaps at the genesis of something a little special between these two in just their second meeting.
Forehand already looking sharper so far for Hurkacz in this matchup. It is a different matchup than playing Casper Ruud, who was in excellent form when he took on Hubie. You have to contend with so much more spin coming off the ball. This one coming at a little more of a hittable style, and he's taken full advantage of it so far.
Let's talk about the injury, of course, that he picked up against Artifice in the second round of Wimbledon when he dove for the ball and ended up tearing his meniscus for Hurkacz. Has played 11 matches after that on the season, won 6, lost 5. That, however, was a miracle in itself, because when he went to see the doctors, he also spoke to Novak Djokovic, who also obviously had that problem with his knee, about what to do. Most of the surgeons said he wouldn't have played for the rest of the season last year. So the fact that 3 weeks later he stepped onto the courts in Canada to play against Kokkinakis was remarkable. Ended up winning that in a final set breaker. Beat Rinderknecht before losing to Popyrin, who won the tournament.
It certainly did set him back, even though he was able to get back so quickly. He was ranked 7 in the world at Wimbledon, and by the end of the season dropped down to the top 10 to 16 in the world, where he's currently residing. So don't expect him to stay down there for too long if he stays healthy. Knocking on the door of a break point here at 30 all. Oh, that's snuffed out. That's a beautiful ace from Machac. Paints that line right up the center.
Destructive serve. It doesn't look that great, but it is incredibly accurate, and it also looks as though they've been going against some of their trends. So we've seen Machac in the past love to go wide on the deuce side, but as you've seen already in a couple of crucial points against Hurkacz in this opening set, he's fired it through the tee.
As Hurkacz finds another forehand long. I think Jim used the word simplicity of the serve a little earlier. And when you watch him play technically, and you guys know I like to look at the technique, the backhand is so simple, the serve is so simple, but the forehand isn't. It's a big swing that sometimes gets too late. And so often, I'm watching from side of the court here, and you'd like it to just be a little bit more abbreviated, would certainly give him more control. And he's got plenty of power anyway. Timed it up there, but you know, sometimes I find with players on their forehands in particular, they have the same swing path no matter what type of shot is coming to them. So if they have time, yes, you've got time for a longer, lengthier swing, but if it's onto you quicker, you need to abbreviate. That's something that when you watch like Novak Djokovic, he does so very, very well.
Oh, yes. So sweet from Machac. Great anticipation. But you better have good hands to pull this shot off, too, and he certainly did. Look how deep he was on the return to serve, and then quickly right back up, trying to regain the ground. Hurkacz pressing the attack button, and that was spectacular. Similar point here with Machac starting deep in the court and never quite being able to get back in to an even keel in the rally. Hurkacz leaps his way forward on that backhand and sets up 40-30.
That was the area that he harvested all his points against Casper Ruud out wide on the outside, but Machac there with a beautiful, fluid return of serve, just hurrying it onto Hurkacz. Drags himself back to juice. Pressure on the Team Poland.
I need the wide serve to come into play here with Machac standing so deep to return. Quite a wall that Team Poland just put up in that point, because the serve was the right idea, it just didn't hit the right target, and Machac was in charge there. Hurkacz hanging in there like a loose tooth in that point, but he gets to add in.
Good struggle, nice arm wrestle between these two in that particular service game of Hurkacz, but the pole comes through and is successful. 4-3. Well, it's been a nice solid start between these two. Not quite the fireworks that we had last night, when an estimated 1.5 million people flocked to the Sydney Harbour to watch the fireworks. An underwater themed display. And when a picture is literally a postcard from the barges from the top of the Harbour Bridge, the Sydney Opera House as well, where they launched the fireworks, it was simply sensational and a perfect way to usher in 2025.
Pressure to him because 30 all play with the first serve in a good spot, and also 40-30. So as soon as he starts to play with the second serve in important moments,
losses at the back end of the season for Hurkacz against Jack Draper, and perhaps at that stage a little more worrying Alex Mikkelsen when he went down picking up just the 4 games. So there was a need for a quick reset, and this is the stage that he finds himself at. It's been a little bit more of a composed beginning to this match for Hurkacz as the new balls come into play.
Way deep for this second serve return. And draws a double.
Love 15.
No one's gotten to break point yet. They've been hovering nearby, a couple 30-alls. No damage done to any of the servers just yet.
And amongst it in 2024 has Machac. He played just 7 matches against guys in the world's top 50 in 2023, picked up just the 1 win. Saw him pick up that 18 wins against players in the top 50, but a wealth of data because he's teed it up 35 occasions against those sort of players, so he's got a great understanding of what his game needs to be, what parts hurt other opponents. A couple of great matches, Machac against Tommy Paul over in the Asian swing. It's always complicated taking on Tommy Paul. He's going to make you work for it. Great athlete in his own right. Nice jabs from both players at the moment, but no one really laying a glove on anyone else.
Both guys serving over 65% first serves in play, so that's helping them maintain control of much of the action on their service games. Look how deep Machac is going here. He's going about as deep as you'll see. He's back there in Medvedev territory for the second return. Way back there, as Daniil Medvedev told us last year in Melbourne, you're able to just hit a normal ground stroke. You stand in close on the returns, you have to abbreviate it, bunt the return back to absorb the big pace coming your way.
Particularly against Hurkacz's serve, Jim, because it's still rising all the way back to where he was on that second serve on the first court just then. It's an incredible amount of spin and flight that the ball still gets from Hurkacz. So he comes from such a height, and the leverage that he has with his reach is extreme.
What was also funny is Hurkacz was the player that Medvedev played after he sort of outlined his strategy of why he stands deep, and he stood in to return his serve. And the reason he said afterwards is Hurkacz's serve is still going up. Even if you're standing that far deep, that's what he can bring with the angle. And he's bringing it. Still no breaks, still no break points on serve here. Opening set.
For the moment, almost every 40-30, he goes wide. He goes wide, huh? You have to check. You can change to the team, but just in case we know that his favorite serve in the important moments outside is wide. Yeah. Now that the ball are the three games used, if you have the ball in the hand, for example, on the rally now, go firm with market and play the ball. So you are taking the center of the really much. You are running a lot. You are dictating. You are making a good job.
So he spent a fair bit of time waiting to pick his time to speak to Hurkacz after that 9th game of this opening set. Trying to find the right words at the right time for his man.
Some of the main information was related to serve direction, wasn't it? He was talking to his player about on the big points so far late in the games in the ad court that Machac has been serving out wide with his first serve. So he said, look, he might go T, but just know that his favorite serve is definitely that wide one in the ad. So maybe just lean that way if you get to another big point. These players, for me, quite similar once they're in rally. Their backhands are more sturdy. The forehands are more threatening, but also more fallible. You can extract more errors in the forehand side, but they can also do more damage there. There's a big delta in success on both of these guys' forehands. There's the good and the bad of it. First point, dumped it in the middle of the net, and that time just lays waste to that forehand.
When he's been at 30-all, that has been his pattern to escape the clutches of Hurkacz. Fast through the tee, then a big one out wide, and we're at 5 apiece.
5 games on. Let. First service.
That's such a good play in the ad court, different than the deuce court, right? The ad court, when you hit the second serve to the backhand, you're taking court position, and it's much harder for players to rip backhands than it is forehands. You serve it down the middle. In this scenario, if he were standing deep, he's not. He's standing in, so the serve and volley is not really on here. But in the deuce court, you're most likely going to hit the tee serve, and you're not really getting a good angle for a put-away volley after that. If you try to go wide, then they've got the forehand in play. They see you coming. You're really at risk. So that's why the ad court serve and volley on a second serve is more of an option against a deep returner. And he's going to take away that option here, Machac. He's going to stand in tight. See if he gets another double. Different tactics paying off, Teddy.
Well, he did so well to make that return, first and foremost, and then he sneaks in here. But I really like the way Machac moves around there. Look how low he is and how stable he is, the balance that he has. He always has his eyes right behind the flight of the ball, and that's so important for a volleyer. Big point coming here.
Now is when the second serve to the forehand is actually the best strategy. Take time away from the less reliable shot.
Where the frequency of his forehand going down the line at times for Hurkacz just hurts him. It just opened up the door for a very routine two-hander cross court that got him on the run, and then Machac made his way, wandered into net.
Finds himself with the first break point of today's contest, and it's a big one at 5-all. He got it. What a rifle. And first blood goes to Team Czechia. They'll serve for the opening set after the break.
Perfect forehand here, and well, we've seen it numerous times over the course of 2024. This particular shot wrecking havoc against great opponents. Why Hurkacz decided that his +1 backhand should go to that side after the return, only he knows, but Machac was not going to get another second invitation to pull the trigger on his forehand, and rightly so. Nice little bit of game management from Machac on the return, stepping up on that baseline, just taking away the certain volley play from Hurkacz. Who honed his craft, watching his sister play, who was a tennis player in her own right, but he would be hanging around the tennis club and smashing balls like so many players in the past against the wall for many hours, so that he didn't get bored. Eventually got spotted at the club, and his parents paid for the lessons, and this is a sport that he ended up falling in love with. He fell out with a little bit of love with it when he was around 12 to 15, played a little bit more soccer back then before coming back to the tennis courts. We are now the beneficiaries of that decision. Serving for the opening set for Team Czechia. You feel he's going to need a little bit of help from his opponent if he's going to get the boomerang break.
Machac has time on the ball on that forehand. He is deadly. It is an elaborate swing, and if you can rush it, there are errors to be had there. But man, look at the wrist lag, and that's where the power comes from. Plenty there.
Hurkacz at times can just look a little disjointed. The feet not quite in the right place, where the arm is in the head.
That's exactly what I was talking about just tightening up that swing. That was an absolute example there.
A little extravagant. He has got 3 set points in a row. He seals it with an ace on his second. Team Czechia go a set up. And that was an impressive sprint to the line in the opening set from the 24-year-old.
In the rallies, maybe just be a little bit be a little bit more disciplined and a little less aggressive with your change of direction shots for right now. When you do get a chance to attack, I do like trying to challenge Machac's forehand with speed, because I think he's shown not only can he handle speed with his two-hander, he can handle it with a left-handed forehand if he has to. There wasn't much in that set, right? There was just the one late break, so no major changes, but just a couple little minor ones. What about you guys? What do you think, Petch? Start with you, and then we can wander down courtside to Todd.
I mean, I think he's got to just, again, go with the return through the middle when he can get it on. I think that I agree with you. I think he wants to change direction too quickly in rally.
30-15.
I'd like to see him try and find a way to get to the net a little bit more against Machac, just try and break some of the rhythm up.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. I think, though, to do that for Hurkacz, I'm going to focus on is that he needs to structure some points to get the shot that he's after, because at the moment he's playing just free tennis. Whatever comes, he hits wherever he feels. There's no actual pattern. And that's what he needs to do. So if you think about Casper Ruud, he's always looking to set up a play to use his forehand, and he's always waiting for that moment, and he's patient to that. That's the type of thing that Hurkacz could be thinking of. Okay, I'm going to go here until I get the ball. And he wants to use his forehand as a big weapon, but at the moment, he needs to set that up.
Game, Team Poland.
then he can start advancing, I think, into the net that, like you've sort of mentioned, Jim. But you can't do that if it's all over the place. You have to actually set your play to get there.
One thing that we have seen, Todd, is Machac advancing as the set wore on the first set. Remember how deep he was returning early, and this is the first 9 games of the set. They're on serve. That was his average contact hit point once he was in rally, because he was returning from so deep. Once he shifted to returning in close, look at that. He was well and truly inside the baseline. Now, a couple of those are obviously service games, so you're going to be more aggressive there. Just the one return game involved. But he was able to get into the net, knock off some key volleys, and thump some forehands. So that adjustment for him is literally the one adjustment. Moving forward with the second serve return elicited a double fault from Hurkacz immediately, and then from there he was able to take control of some rallies, and that's put him in control of the scoreboard.
Yeah, just underlining what you're saying, it doesn't need to be seismic shifts in strategy at times. Can be just a little subtle one, enough to tilt the balance towards you, and that's certainly what happened at the back end of the opening set. That is just absolutely world class.
Yeah, I mean, I like Mahac's backhand far more than I like his forehand, but the forehand's the one that gives the oohs and the ahs, but this is like a blindfold shot, I feel like, for Machac. He could just close his eyes, hit that one in the center of the racket, and find the court.
Nice way to take the initiative there from Hurkacz. The absence of alternatives can narrow the focus.
And where did he go?
Cross court.
Exactly. It's, keep a pattern of play like that for a while will help him enormously. Now, ball boy, we had this issue yesterday. The ball kids are moving so fast they're coming out of their shoes. Oh, he's going to help him out. That, or as Tomas alluded to, maybe they need to do their laces up a little tighter.
Net. First service.
We've been here before at 30-all on Mahac's serve, and it'll be fascinating to see what comes out. A little smile on the New Year's Day.
Yeah, they've laid it out. It's been a serve up the tee, followed by a serve out wide in the ad court that has extracted the risk for Machac. Let's see if he keeps that pattern. That's a different toss. That was a wide ball toss going out to the right for him. That's more of a tee toss.
Can't ask for more from Hurkacz. Picked the tee. Machac didn't hit his spot as well as he had done at 30 all in the past, but boy, isn't he an athlete. unbelievable flexibility once again on display.
The volley wasn't bad, was it? I mean, that was a difficult volley, and you're covering the right place. He just beat him with pace, basically through the middle. And Captain Machac up out of his seat because it's 40-30 instead of break point. Nope. Forced it.
Game. Team trick. 1-0.
If you were going to go back and watch game tape after this, at 30-all, when you watch Hurkacz's net position there, Todd, you can tell me I'm wrong, I felt as though he was over covering the line. He's a tall guy.
And he also got too close, didn't he? Which is why he got beaten by pace. So, so it's about your positioning. If you think of great net players, of how they cover, they almost suck you into going to a certain spot. Hold, hold. Wow. Hard to get over Hurkacz. What a lob. But I was saying hold, hold, and that's where you get into a position and you lure your opponent in, and then you time it. And again there, almost getting in too close too quick. He's so big, he probably doesn't need to, because he can put his racket out in front and cover and close the net down.
15-all.
That looked like one of Todd's chip lob returns over the net man back in the 90s, time and time again. Just a little low stab lob.
Yeah.
That's why you're sitting in such a cushy seat right now.
Yep, paid a few bills, that one.
It's almost an identical sort of look to Todd's, because the shorts are about the same length, aren't they?
I didn't have those legs, I can tell you that. My quads didn't pop out of my shorts like that. This is an admission period for me for Hurkacz, because I think he's actually played some really good points, structured them, and if he could keep going cross, find his way forward, make Machac come up with those incredible passing shots, you're just building pressure that's going to come your way. You can't keep coming up with that when you're playing such a big guy like this, and let's hope he sticks to those patterns. That's if you're going for Team Poland. Because when you get so many free points like that, the pressure goes on the other end of the court so often. You've got to remember that.
Tucked it across the incoming Machac, who gives him a little tap of the racket to say great shot, which of course it was. Big hold for Team Poland, 2-1, second set. The all-court play from both players actually in this little segment of the match, and Machac showed over the course of the season just how comfortable he is in the full court. Here showing how comfortable she is in the spotlight consistently. Currently the world number 2, of course, former world number 1, looking to get back to that particular spot. Of course, also changed her coach with Wim Visser. It's going to be fascinating to see how that translates to the quicker conditions down here in Australia, taking on Karolina Muchova for a 4th time. Świątek leads that head-to-head 2-1. This time they played back in Montreal on the hard courts. Every single one has gone to a deciding set.
Okay, very good. The guy needs to play like this to win games. And remember, the guy all the time, if his serve is 30-all, you're winning serve so easy. It's the first time, I think, 30-all again from the break. That's it. And before, so easy for you. So you are making the difference. So you will have chances to break. Yeah,
Some positive reinforcement from Nicholas Massoud, and coach for Hubert Hurkacz, just saying, look, you're holding serve easily. This guy's holding serve at 30 all nearly every game. Hang in there. You're right there on the edge of a break. It's crafty. Little slice and squash forehand.
There's a new fan.
Kitty. Oh, that's an edge taker on that serve.
I can tell you too that the fans are waving their fans in the stadium at the moment. It has got really toasty. It's just on 30 plus degrees out in Homebush, Western Sydney. It's a lot warmer out west than it is if you're in around the coastline with a bit of a sea breeze. Just catches that one. And if you throw in the fact that it's now up to 40% humidity, it is difficult conditions.
It's difficult for Hurkacz to keep up with the pace of shot coming from Machac. Look at those numbers, bottom right. Thumping the forehand, getting him on the backhand side by 4 kilometers an hour as well.
New balls, please.
Something a little special. So on average 136 Ks against Alcaraz in Shanghai. He is capable of pretty high numbers without missing. A fairly irresistible combination. So it inserts a lot of questions into your opponent's mind when you can come up with shots like that as your +1. Where does Hurkacz go to try and give himself a good chance to build some momentum?
There's new balls to serve with here.
So he had some pretty quick success with Dominic Thiem, didn't he? Pretty much came on the bag, and then the Masters 1000 title for Dominic at Indian Wells.
It was the same thing with Craig Boyton. Started at Indian Wells with Hubert Hurkacz, and they got to the quarterfinals when Hubie was young and his ranking was nowhere near supporting that kind of result. So those kind of early results, that's jet fuel for chemistry. Turbocharges the relationship in a way. That was a little hot doggery. Seen quite a few of the front-facing twinners. That one finds the net. Hurkacz finds a hole.
those that have come in to watch this particular contest on New Year's Day, they probably got a little bit more sleep than some of the other 1.5 million people that wandered into Sydney Harbour last night. But it has been a very well supported event out here at Homebush. There's no doubt at all. Hubert is a big global star, but obviously from a Polish contingent, they have come out here and supported hard. And she'll be up next. Success for Poland in recent times. Hubert's been definitely a part of that, semi-finalist at Wimbledon.
And a bit of Queen with We Will Rock You, which is in fact Tomas Machac's favourite band. There you go. Don't know if the DJ knew that.
Didn't inspire him. Real chance here for Hurkacz. Love 15-second serve after a double fault. Superb.
And there you have it, don't you? The structure of a point. Good strong return, cross court, forehand hard cross, and it opens up some space. And he was on his way in too. So there's building that pressure. This is exactly the sort of thing that you would be wanting him to play.
So love 30, not 30 all, but same type of pressure on Machac. 2 points away from a break. I would expect the tee serve coming again.
Can't believe it out, but it is out. There's no question about that. And he is going to face a couple of break points here. He's lost the rhythm on his first serve. And Hurkacz has been patient, waiting for his opportunity. Here it comes.
The first one. Nothing you can do about that level of play for Machac if you're Hurkacz, other than applaud it and go back to work. This forehand was risky, and then once he saw it go over, this volley was absolutely perfect.
How good was the movement too, because he was behind the baseline and he was well inside the service line for the volley. Those first two steps are amazing.
The serves that were conspicuous by their absence suddenly reappearing, and he has done very well of managing a low ball with not much on it and not overplaying it. That was his reward, a simple overhead for something that was very complicated the shot before. Rises to the challenge and pulls up alongside Hurkacz, who looked as though maybe he was just going to move away for the first time today. It is a quirk of Hurkacz's game that he doesn't often hit forehands down the line on the return on the deuce side. He's very much a kind of hook it middle cross court. And obviously, Jim, when you look at the great returners like Novak, how often he finds opponents' backhands in those moments.
It's a real asset if you can do that, for sure. Far easier to do when you're returning in the ad court if you're a right-handed player. Change direction on a serve coming into your forehand in the deuce. You got to remember, even the slow serves are traveling faster than big ground strokes for the most part. Second serves in the mid to high 90s usually in men's tennis of miles per hour. They're 160 kilometers an hour, and changing direction on that is tricky and it's risky. So that just underscores the ability of some of the players like Novak to be able to do that time and time again. It's not easy. Someone as gifted as Hurkacz has trouble with it. Machac there off of that 167K serve was going big cross court rather than catching it a little later. Did miss it by much. Caught that one cleanly.
One thing that Hurkacz's +1 position is well inside the baseline, and obviously doesn't hurt him that often because he's such a great server that he gets so many free points. But if you can get depth like that, you can see him having to shuffle back quickly. One of the reasons why he's never beaten Novak, 0-7.
I haven't seen him hit that lefty forehand the way we've seen Machac do it a couple times, including once today.
Great anticipation from Machac. Picked the inside out forehand. He was waiting to collect it.
What also was good too, I don't think Hurkacz is great at volleying when you go straight at him, and that's what he did there through the center. He gets caught a lot. He's much better if he's able to use the wings.
Team Poland a breaking point. So often for Hurkacz, the rescue remedy is first serves. And he finds 3 in a row to dig himself out of trouble, just as Machac did in the previous game. Good contest right now, 4-3.
Just to touch on his volleys, it's an interesting one with Hurkacz. I think he volleys reasonably well when he is at stretch because he gets the racket in the right position. When he's coming in, he has his racket very close to his body, almost sort of sitting on his right-hand hip. And so his racket work becomes slow, and he doesn't get out in front to be able to take the ball in the right position. So he often catches it late. You see him get caught. Obviously, he's a big man, so he's got to get down behind the ball. But he can make that an easier option if he gets his hands and racket out in front when he's moving forward into the net. And I think his racket work gets a little sloppy, so he gets caught quite often when he comes straight through the middle at him, something that he can really work on.
Interesting to see Nicholas's versatility as a coach. Obviously, Dommy Thiem, somebody that had a nice, predictable kind of style. In fact, the Austrian said after that win in Indian Wells, by the time he got to the French Open that year, one of the things that Nicholas had brought to his game, he felt, was a little bit of unpredictability. But it's almost like the counter opposite, isn't it, in this one, Jim?
Yep, it sure is. Probably, as Todd's been laying out nicely, could use just a little bit more of some patterns he can rely on, and then he can freelance it once he gets into a good position in the point. He's got to figure out how to break serve more. He's one of the greats at holding serve in men's tennis and has been for quite some time, but returning, he's definitely nowhere near the top of that group. He's towards the bottom in the top 100, in fact, as far as breaking serves go. So how does he get there? That is what you have to crack. That's the code you got to crack if you're his team.
Saw the lane was open, took a shot nicely, and once again carves out a love 30 situation.
Love 30.
Did find the backhand with a return. The fans of Team Poland about to find their man serving for the second set. Chances coming thick and fast for him right now. He wilts under the pressure of it all in the end, the 24-year-old, as Hurkacz breaks for a first time.
Very good. Team Poland leads 5 against 3.
"75 minutes of patience from Hurkacz, and he finally gets his reward."
He's made significantly more first serves this set, has Hubert Hurkacz up near 75%. Opening set, just a shade over 60%. That matters.
39. Please. 40.
And the complexion of his tie has completely changed. in the space of about 10 minutes. Almost starting to break down. And now running riot on serve. Triple set point.
Wait, please. Oh. 14-15.
Let's go, let's go. Come on.
Just the second double of the match as he has an opportunity to put this second set to bed.
That goes down to pattern of play again. He's still got a chance to finish this off. But see that forehand there, if you're going to approach on that, that's got to go down deep into the backhand corner. And then when he's so big, you sit and cover the net. They come up with a pass too good, but cross-court opens up the geometry for the pass anyway.
Machac a little frustrated about something at the other end of the court. Sheer delight for Team Poland.
One setter.
They do level up, set a piece. Either with his court positioning on his backhand side, but he's going to have to put that bed to bed pretty quickly.
Left. Team Poland has requested to see the replay on the right baseline.
Must say, how good is it to actually just go straight into the third set without having a 7-8 minute break? It's not meant to be. Maybe that's something new for the new year, guys. It's going to be very good.
Petchum Simpson, we might get a lot of. Back in my day,
I was waiting for it, yeah. I was waiting for the screen to go to black and white.
Come on. You agree with me, come on. If there was a day to do it, it actually is today, because it's so humid and damp. I would have expected them both to go for the change of a full clothing kit.
Well, we touched on it at the start of the match about Hurkacz and his missed returns, particularly off the forehand side against Casper Ruud. Look at that uptick. That is phenomenal from him, and one of the reasons why Machac again is in a little bit of trouble. That is contrary to what we just showed you.
And clearly the commentator's curse hasn't left for 2025.
Those are significant moments, aren't they? He's just been a little cavalier with a little overhead. He's then missed the next shot. You make him play. You put the ball in bounds, and you just never know what may happen. And the art of making your opponent miss is at times, Jim, I think overlooked in tennis. So often it's about what you can do, how proactive you can be, but actually just playing some of those moments a little more successfully for Hurkacz could be the difference.
Yeah, situational awareness matters in life. It certainly matters out here in this one-on-one combat, understanding the ebbs and flows, not only of what you're feeling and experiencing, but also your opponent. As the win predictor is shifted towards Team Poland in this particular singles encounter, you have to be aware of what's happening on the other side of the net, and you also have to have a full understanding that when your opponent misses, it counts exactly the same as you hitting a winner.
Whether the win predictor had inputted Machac's record in deciding sets for 2024. It was a highly credible 15 wins and just the 5 losses throughout the season.
Body blow on the second serve. 168K on that second. And Machac did well to not get hit by it. Oh, he's an angry little elf. Oh. He wouldn't like him when he was angry.
Can we get those numbers on those 2 strikes?
Return speed 166. Todd, how about that?
That's impressive, isn't it?
Nice to have the luxury of that pace up your sleeve, isn't it? He doesn't use it all the time, but
it's when you see the capabilities of what these players can do. If you ever had the chance to watch Rafa Nadal practice and then go watch him play, you'd notice how much more conservatively he played in a match and how much power he had available and how he could flatten out the shots whenever he wanted to, and he just chose not to play that way. He certainly had the ability to hit those types of shots that Machac just hit. All these players do. They're playing a restrained brand of percentage tennis for whatever their style of play is. With 40 love down, we got to see the full arsenal from Machac, didn't we? It's the same thing with top golfers. They can hit the ball further than they usually do. They typically hit about 90% of their possible club speed for control. Because hitting fairways matters, just like keeping the ball on the lines here matters. There's Hurkacz at love 30, letting fly.
I wouldn't mind seeing him do a bit more of that.
Crush and rush?
Yeah. I mean, he's tall. The ball's not going to play him. He's got a very simple backhand, as Todd's been saying.
I agree. He doesn't even have to crush it. He just takes that early with a bit of a smooth swing, and that builds more pressure, particularly as you get into the middle and latter stage of the 3rd set. There's the difference on the 2 returns as well. We saw it the previous one on the backhand. I call it a unit turn. He simply rotates his shoulders on the backhand and just puts the racket behind and goes through. Then on that forehand, we saw him take the racket back over his shoulder and head, and then he catches it late. That is why he doesn't have the same control. This needs to be a simple unit turn, the same as he does on the backhand, to that forehand side. And that just takes a little bit of practice. He's most definitely skilled enough, but it's something I don't think we would have seen him work on. That'd be a practice court thing.
So what are you saying there, Todd? It's shoulder turn rather than racket back?
Yeah, it's simply, you know,
14, that's it.
if you were to put your racket out in front of you, rotate your shoulders, feel like you're using your trunk and that you're not swinging with your whole arm. And then you just meet the ball quite simply. You've got a lot of pace coming at you from the serve, and then you can redirect it into the part of the court that you so wish. That's what he does off the backhand. Too good, but he actually did it nicely there, so it's very doable, just has to put it into play more often.
Machac once again showing how good he is in the forecourt. Lovely little delicate touch to lead 2-1 in the decider. Right, let's take you back to the morning after the night before, the place that so many people want to come to. 1.5 million visitors last night, seeing the fireworks around the Sydney Opera House where they were fired off. There's the Harbour Bridge was closed, but at 9 o'clock and at midnight, a spectacular sight. Of course, about 20 swimmable beaches in the harbour these days, 4 bridges across it, and it is truly one of the most iconic places to be. Jim Courier has been right to the top, not just of the World Tennis Rankings, but of the Harbour Bridge
and then also
as well.
Jumping a little bit here.
And as I was saying, it also has its own unit of measurement, the Sid Harb, which Todd Woodbridge was trying to get into with the red wine. He's shaking his head down there. I know you weren't, Todd, I know you weren't. Don't worry. Nice little thrust and parry with Daniel Vacek, a 3-time Grand Slam winner in doubles with Yevgeny Kafelnikov and his charge. There's a little testing moment here. Machac wants answers.
Yeah, he's energized. That was a very active changeover in the team zone. A team Poland there. Sorry, Team Czechia, and Vacek also administering a little bit of a light massage on the left quads, the left calf muscle. His man is on serve and in the lead here in the final set. Two of the more balanced teams in Sydney going toe-to-toe here.
Well, that was the point that I called for just a little earlier. They're your basic plays.
So good. Clean as your life from Hurkacz. Dominating hold of serve.
New balls, please.
Again, great use of the feet there. Good space, good load. Everything that Messi would be happy to see.
Let first six.
That's one of the shots that has really led to his ranking rise, is the forehand. It is far more consistent in its output than it was this time last year. And you put that together with his reliable and offensive-minded two-hander and get yourself a player rising up the rankings. Sitting at number 25 right now, will be seated at the Australian Open.
Again, the setup for it absolutely perfect, but it stays the same, and then suddenly he just torques the upper body, and the ball just shooting through against Hurkacz.
Be the first time for Machac that he'll be seated at a major in singles. Last major he played was the best one he's had. Made it out to the 4th round in the U.S. Open before Jack Draper clipped him in 3 sets. But did have a pretty handy win over Fognini and Korda en route to that one.
A couple of super holds of serve from both players. And this continues to be very tense in the opening match of the day between Team Poland and Team Czechia. Given that he's had pressure a little pre-season, he has performed incredibly well in his opening couple of matches here. From a physical standpoint, you can see here Daniel Vecek again having to do a little bit of massage on the calves. A couple of very physical encounters.
A little bit inside here. This one? No, outside. This one? No, inside. Oh, this one? Yeah. And then go up a little bit. I touched.
DIY massage game. Learning on the job here, Vacek. One of the things that's happened in recent times as well, Jim, on the tour, of course, with the increase in prize money, not just on the tour, but also obviously from the majors, it's made it a little bit more flatter. There's a little bit more money down the pipeline, which has enabled these players that are coming through perhaps to hire a higher caliber of coach faster in their career than they've previously been able to do before.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Everyone seeing the value of investing in good coaching, a good physio, strength and conditioning coaches, mental coaches. There's a lot more apparatus around the players. When the term team first started getting bandied about by players, it seemed a little bit silly, but now you start to see, well, now they do have sort of 6, 7 people with them at the top, and it is a team.
Rolling through service games.
Nice. Only dropped 1 point on serve this set, huh? All right. He's made 11 out of 12 first serves. Yeah, just 1 point. Rock solid. Here comes the jinx, Todd. See if it's still alive and well. No, aced him.
No, it's going to be a good year for you, Jim. But I tell you what, I was thinking here now is that the man that you've faced so many times in big matches, Pete Sampras, it reminds me in this sense right now. What I'm going to go to is that Pete used to just cruise along and you could hold your serve, and then all of a sudden he would lift his intensity towards this part of a set from 3-all onwards, and you'd start to feel him pressure and he would tighten things up. That's what I'd like to see Hubie do a little bit more of. He sort of just meanders along, but right now this is that time when you try to lift, and you can reiterate a little bit more about what Pete would do.
It's hard to know if it was intentional or not with Pete, but he did make a lot of returns early in the sets, and then all of a sudden at 3-all, 4-all, 5-all, or
they were there, weren't they?
He just would start blocking returns, chip and charge, get into the net, and his opponents would have no rhythm because they played no rallies in the set, because you're not rallying much when Pete was serving either. You're kind of marching left and right, watching him ace you.
So it's a similar feel in a more modern game with Hurkacz. But you would feel that intensity rise. You don't kind of see it in the physical aspect of Hubie. He just seems to be, he carries that same demeanor. You'd love to see a little bit more of intensity from him.
49.
And it's not in his nature, is he? He's not an in-your-face type of guy. But at the same time, when you're out competing, you need to find ways to lift.
Scarce any opportunities in this final set. Both players looking rock solid on serve. 4-3. We're talking a lot about obviously Team Poland, Team Czechia. Of course, the Wim Fissette, who has worked with some of the biggest names on the WTA, is now working with Iga as they take a little look, perhaps through a little bit of data, or maybe it's just a YouTubing or Instagramming, who knows. But Iga up next against Muchova in what should be a phenomenal match. And it's going to be interesting to watch another partnership as the year goes by, see what he can bring to Iga's game. Pretty much on a hard court, Jim. Clay, she's sorted.
Yeah. Watching her practice earlier, it looks like the take-back on the forehand is a little quicker, a little bit different. Maybe that's to try and give her more time to execute that devastating forehand on a surface that takes time away from you, like this one here. Machac doing double duty. And Team Czechia's team zone, administering a massage on the quad of his player.
Time.
And he's pretty much having to do what players did against Sampras in this final set, isn't he? Machac is just trying to wait for an opportunity that this man starts missing a few first serves and can get himself involved in a few rallying situations. Downside of the semi-open stance forehand, it takes you a little bit of time to get going when you decide to come in, and he was a bit further away from the net than he would have liked to have been, and that space exploited beautifully by Machac. This is a chance.
return got the line, and here comes a pivotal moment in this match. 2 breakpoint chances for Team Czechia.
Machac gave him a wide serve. Lent to his right. Brilliantly saved from Hurkacz.
Used the slow slicer, took pace off of it to try and get it out of the strike zone to Machac, and that worked well. And once Machac leapt up in the air to get it, Hurkacz knew he was going to try and take it down the line, because it'd be tough to get there, and he was proved correct. Great save, great strategy, and great execution leading to it.
Advantage, Team Poland. Again, Team Poland.
When the opportunity comes and goes, Machac, how much will he rue that missed forehand on the first of those 2 break points?
4 against all.
Turn the pace on that forehand is exciting to watch. Once again, making it look easy.
Some excellent shot making from Hurkacz, and also some emotion now emanating from the big man. Strategic shift is also the technical ability to do it, and that will be one of the challenges for Nicholas Massou on that forehand side. He was trying to do the right thing there, but everything just coming out of the shot there for Hurkacz, contributing to the miss.
was a mini opportunity at the start of that particular service game for Hurkacz to potentially exploit something, unable to do so. And Machac leads 5-4.
Press from the bottom to the top. And that's it. You don't need that? Yeah, like that. Not too hard. Yeah. Yeah.
Jestli chceš. To je tohle něco jiného? To je ti tam
And one there.
A jo, mám tohle. No, máš. Teď mu to nejde, cítím. Pojď.
Competitive match between these two nations, and this opening match certainly proving to be the case. Still nothing between them after almost a couple of hours of play out here. Machac getting more work done by Vatric in that particular sit down. Super depth on the return. Hurkacz forced into a very defensive +1 shot.
And an instant injection of tension into this game if you're Hubert Hurkacz, serving at love 15 with no room to wiggle. This is the conundrum for Hurkacz. You need confidence to get through moments like this, and the only way you get confidence is by getting through moments like this, and he hasn't done it for quite some time.
And further evidence of that nervousness in these moments that Jim has just pointed out. Wild forehand. Team Czechia with 3 match points.
Still a match.
Absolute delight for Machac. Terrific contest between these two.
6-4.
And a huge point as well for Team Czechia.